Found out how to use yes. Gonna set the timer. Oh. Cutting this. Cutting these out. Uh-oh, that got cut. Just to remind everyone, if you are wanting to get stuff started on the live, just ask a question and then ask to come up here. And we'll make sure that the questions are bigger topics. Unless you are a subscriber of Patreon, then the tools will come for you. So, I mean, the tools, whatever you want to talk about that's personal, I will give personal tools. And everyone gets to benefit. But I'm cutting this until you guys are ready to start talking. And I'm only going to be on for an hour. So, let's see. Yeah. Hi. Thank you. I hope you're doing okay. Oh, last year or right now? That's how last year was all about the shifts for me. And the beginning of this a bit, but it was like, I think I finalized everything in January. But yeah, the shifting was insane. Just when I thought everything was gonna be like something else, it wasn't. But that's the fun part, because all of a sudden, and when those things happen, you start to realize that our expectations are kind of stealing the joy anyway, so. And for everyone that's on, I am now putting most of these on YouTube. Yesterday was my first time doing YouTube at the same time. So I've done it today again, so you guys can go and watch it. For now, we'll see how it goes, but it was crazy yesterday because lots of people came on the YouTube and I was like, ah. What do you mean my Sag? Do you mean Sagittarius? Yeah. I wouldn't focus too much on those things. You have a lot more to explore than just those kind of that. Remember, those are the way that humans have measured stuff. Focus more on what universe each of those each of the planets represent. Start there. Also, I recommend looking at the last live. We talked about throwing away planets as a concept when you're exploring, so that you can actually fully explore. Because a lot of planet thinking gets us stuck. There is, I had, and on Patreon I have some new information that I put up, but I'm still sitting on the bigger part of it, because the bigger part of it is something super important. For me, it's more about being born in winter weather effects on my mind, personality, and etc. Yeah, but then you're still going outside yourself. You're still thinking that way. And those are the ways that human systems have come up with. And you have, trust me, have way cooler stuff to explore. When we look, I know it sounds silly, but the more we focus on those kind of things, even something like the weather, the more we don't get the opportunity, and we're taking up that space of being able to look into actually our stuff that has nothing to do with what you see out here that we could be bringing into here. Otherwise, yeah. And by the way, this is me speaking from living in London for years, where it's winter a lot. The physical effect on the human mind of external factors, I get. No, but same thing. I think all of that, like I said, no excuses. I live in London for many years, and it's me that makes the changes. I'm the one that is doing these things, because remember, you have the internal reality, you have the internal external reality, which is all the shared ones, and then the external, which is the output of everything, like all the rules and things that we decide and limit ourselves on as a collective. And so if we keep withholding those, we're not just doing that to ourselves, we're doing it to other people as well. But when we start to explore where we come from, our origins, not one, but many, and seeing how it fits in our life, we're doing service to ourselves and others, because we're bringing new things to the matrix instead of the matrix being just all the other old stuff that's just been recycled over and over again. If we pay attention too much to the natural cycles only, we are still externalizing. It's like looking at the machine. Like if you were driving a car and you're learning how to drive a car and you were focused on the engine only. Like it's, yes, that would be a thing to be interested in, and you might, like that. But that's not going to help you drive a car by looking at the engine, right? Like nature's doing its job and doing things that, and we don't, we can be a part of it if we want to, which humans have not really decided that or not yet. But yeah. Let us, humanity, break the matrix. I'll help. No, it's not about breaking the matrix. That's not what the matrix is. The way that people talk about the matrix is a human way of looking at it. If you have questions about that and you can guide it, I can speak more about it. But like I said, I have lots of lives where I've talked about already. But there's no breaking it. It's bringing stuff in here. A lot of people, they want help, they want to escape, they want to break it. No, none of that is. I mean, people can say that as much as they want, but it's not what is going to happen. It's us bringing stuff. You can think of it like a room. Like, let's say there's a shared room where you can pay a fee to use all the equipment and art supplies in this facility, and you bring your stuff. You bring your stuff. You bring the things, the ideas, and the things to that facility. So the facility might have paid for sewing machines and paints and things like that because they've already done that. But you bring the stuff. You don't break the place, right? That's kind of what's going on with this. Um, I don't think so. I think that you can be. I mean, if they weren't, if they weren't a good way to communicate, then no one would ever hear my stuff. So I don't know. I have some respect for words. From what I see, you bring a nice vibe. Oh, well, thank you. Agnostic person, would you like to come up? Do you have questions? Or even alien space, do you have questions? Because it's easier for me if you go into the we talk. That's how I've been doing the live now. Yeah, but I think that's beautiful. And that's what I mean by you bringing what you have to the table. Right? That's why it's cool. It shouldn't be like that. Because it's not finite. Now, if it's finite, if you are doing something finite, like for example, making a cake, then yeah, it needs to make sense. But if you're being infinite and you're sharing your infinity, then it's up to you how you're going to describe that to others, right? But if you're just talking about stuff other people talked about, who cares, right? Like my energy story, no humans have talked about that at all. Like not even once. Even the bigger energies didn't know. But I can use words to explain those things. Takes time, but I think that's beautiful, and that's probably why I'm specialized in it. But I think it's a beautiful process. And the more you do it, and the more it's you, the easier it is to just do it all the time. That's why I always look up like that. That's what's happening there. It's my translation thing. You want to come up and chat? People better not come late because I'm gonna go in now. Oh, it's less than an hour now. Come in the box. Come in the box with your questions. Hi. Do you have any questions about infinity and stuff? Yesterday we did some reframing spirituality. So if you want to do that. So if you have something that's for the kind of a bigger question, feel free to leave it in here, and then you can come up here and we'll talk about it. Let's get this live started. And I will be leaving now. We'll see, in 40 minutes. So we'll see. Uh-oh. Do you want to come up and chat? We can talk about that. Right now I'm just cutting out my little project while until someone wants to come up. It makes the live really fun when people come up, so. But yeah, that's a good topic. I can I don't know if I can request. Let's see if I can. Oh, I can't request. So you do just request down here if you want. Okay, well if you want, we can quickly talk about it so that you can see that there's nothing to be afraid of, but I can see how it's a bit daunting. So basically everything that we know that's finite. So I'll talk about finite and infinite. So finite is all the systems humans have come up with. So finite is it's where you get a desired outcome, right? And so for example, science is the easiest example. So in science, people will study and research stuff and they'll have a hypothesis and they'll have a desired outcome, right? And so they'll study it, make sure it works so that someone else can make a medicine out of it, right? That research. So when you do that kind of process, it's helpful for us to do the things that we want to do in society. It's all the physical stuff that we want to do. So it's basically a thought process. That's why I talk about it being I'm a channeler and a philosopher, because it's a thought process. So when you're about to do something, let's say you want to have fun and explore something new and have fun, that would be infinity. And you probably wouldn't want finite process, but you might, right? And you might want to paint, so you would have to know the step by step for painting, right? But when you're getting the information and the colors and the thought process, probably you'd want to go into the infinite, right? So it's that kind of thinking. So it's thought processes that you think, okay, am I going to do infinity or thoughtful stuff, right? So anything where humans are okay, you do this, this, and this, and then you get to heaven, or you do this, this, and this, and you're a good person. Those are opinions and finite systems because it's to get a desired outcome. So when people are thinking like that, it is a human-made impression of something. It doesn't mean that the thing that they're thinking about is not a human thing, but the way that they've giving this to people is finite. So not only can you think of when you're doing actions, but you can also think about what you do, what people do. You can go, oh, this person's doing finite, this person's not. You can do those for both. So now that we've talked about that, we're also going to talk about God. So the God process, if you look at all the information we have historically, and if anybody's seen my work or anything that I talk about, history is not what it seems, because the way that we perceive it is in a linear process. So in this, again, finite system, it's good. So if you want to talk about, okay, there's this problem happening, and historically we have this, this, and this, that would be a good finite project, right? But if you're being infinite and you want to know about God and you want to know what's going on, that's not helpful, right? So yes, religions can help, but you have to throw away the rules for a second. That's what you have to do. You have to, anything that's finite, just you put it on a shelf for a little bit. And when you start looking at all the stories, you start to have your own information. So if you take away rules and you, let's say you read the Bible, let's say you read a myth in Greek mythology, take away the rules and just read it. The information and all the things that you're getting from it is your infinity. It's your pattern that has basically held its shape in creation and is not a part of the pool, but also is a part of the pool at the same time. And so that holds all the different things people think are past lives, but it's actually parallel lives. They're all working on stuff on their own. So not only is that what happens when you put the finite aside and you go to infinity thinking, but you also get to enjoy learning about yourself. Like you start learning about those things. Once you've anchored that in, it's going to be very easy to see what when a human shows you something, you can get to see more layers because you're learning more layers about yourself, right? And so now we'll go to God. So all these things that people talk about in religion or they say in pop culture about God, everyone has a different opinion on what God is. Some people that are in a religion would say that there's one God, but they think it's a guy, right? And they're confused because they're going by what the pastor said. Some religions will fight to the death for that, right? And they don't even know why. They don't even know. They're just like, they believe in it so much, right? And then there's infinity. So infinity can be what people would say source. So a source like an ocean. So we all say, oh, we're all ocean, we're all pieces of ocean or whatever. But I actually found out that it's the opposite. We hold everything because that's what it means to be a physical being. You hold all of the processes that have happened in creation within one, like a seed. So we seem like we're small, but the reason why we're small is because we're so compact with tons of information. So going within and learning that, you're going to get all kinds of stuff, right? So that is how it works. And then everything also is like, if we take away the lens of a human finite system, everything is an ecosystem. Just like I usually use the analogy of a pond. So a pond, if you look from the perspective of a mosquito larva baby that's in the water and a little baby fish and a frog or something like that, they're all going to be from different perspectives. If you look from the frog perspective and you watch their life, you're going to be like rooting for them to get food so that they can, do their little cycle, right? But if you're looking from the mosquito larva's perspective and you're like watching that, or you're them, you're going to be like rooting for, being hidden and no like fish or frogs eating you, right? So that is how it works, and it's all about perspective. And so when people talk about being higher or lower vibration or higher beings and things like that, it's not true. It's expansion and how big they are. How many perspectives do they hold? So your big pattern, your big energy that is not just all of source, it's like the what started in creation. What does that hold? Which parts do you as a human also reflect back and hold? So I hope that helped, and it shows you that it's actually beautiful, and it includes what people talk about God. So that's the thing that I don't like, is when people try to take that away from people. It includes this, but it's a perspective from humanity. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But what's wrong with it is being mean to other people who are having a different perspective. And even when people say it in a very gaslighting way to another person and say, oh, I respect your differences, whatever, agree to disagree, even that is disrespectful, because they're saying you're wrong, but it's okay that you're wrong. That's not good either. So what we need to know is why are they having this perspective? Why, how, what's their decision? What is the context of them making that belief or decision or way of life? Now, when people are mindlessly doing things without any thought process, we shouldn't judge them. But what they're doing is, that's the context. That means that they're a product of their whatever. Like, let's say they have a job where they have to go to a job like every second, and they only have like 1 hour break of their whole like cycle of work. And they have no weekends, they have no holidays, nothing. And that's all they do. That person is going to have a different way of looking at life than another person, even if they go to the same church, even if they're both atheists. They're going to look at life differently. One is like having like a child and is at home all the time, and the other one is working nonstop. They're going to have a different way of behaving. There's context. So when people just say, you are that religion, that's it, there's no context in that. So for me, yes, it is all perspective. For me, it's perspective and context. So I teach and help people learn about themselves so that they can grow their perspective and their context and noticing context. So instead of just like, people a lot make jokes on TikTok about pattern recognition and be like, I have pattern recognition. I would take that further. I don't think that that is going to serve you. It's going to give you anxiety. But if you actually look at context and be the change that you want to see mixed together, all kinds of magical things will start happening, because that's basically what it is. But the more you learn about yourself and the style, so I talk about the mapping your energy. And when you map your energy, you, like I said, as you're looking at things, anything that you see around you, those are you liking those things and getting excited, or just even like cute, like things where you're like, that's cute, or whatever, it doesn't matter. That is you recognizing yourself in the simulation, your truth. And your truth is that bigger energy, and as well as source. Those are the truths. There's other truths too, but those are the main truths that everyone has. But yeah, I heard someone say the more darkness one can witness, the more light you can obtain. That's a human thing, because they're telling you you're going to get this. That's a human perspective. Nothing wrong with it, but it's a human perspective. Because also, I like to talk about darkness. Darkness is not the way that we have defined it. Yes, you can say it as a because in English language, you can say descriptions and adjectives, all languages do, but you can say those things as a opinion, a human situation thing. Like when we say evil, it doesn't actually exist, but it's an opinion about something that is devastating or horrible that a person has done. You're like, that's evil, but it isn't actually a thing, if that makes sense. So but there is darkness, and darkness is all potential, every single possibility. So it's infinity. So saying darkness all the time really confuses people's brains. And that's why when a lot of people talk about this light and dark and stuff like that, they get very confused, because they don't understand that darkness is bigger than light, actually, because it's the potential of everything. It's your imagination, it's your creation. It's all the things that you're about to put together and sew together into a bigger patchwork quilt. That's what I call it. That's how humans pull in and share things, is in a patchwork quilt. So darkness, you close your eyes, and darkness is all the things that you're about to imagine and think about and do, right? And when you open your eyes, it's already done. There are things that everyone has already done. So it's smaller and older, right? Smaller and new. It's like a baby, kind of. But this is like all this amazing stuff that is you and possibility. So there you go. There's nothing to be afraid of, just fun excitement to explore. And like I said, learning if the difference between a human-made thing and a infinite thing is going to be really fun when you live life, because you'll start to go, oh, this is a finite thinking. And usually the things we're afraid of are finite thinking, because infinite is like everything, right? So if something is finite thinking, it's going to be scary, because finite is scary usually, because it's about missing those puzzle pieces. And then when you start to feel more comfortable about the two and when to use them and when to recognize them, then you're not afraid anymore, because you realize that, okay, I can try and find out this, or maybe I don't have to, right? I noticed I was able to reach source when I was going through very dark situations. But you should not give credit to anyone else but you. It's not because of doing a thing, it's because you did that. It's not because you did this, this, and this. There's a thing that they did studies on pigeons, and they found out that pigeons have OCD. And they are like, okay, if I do this and this person's gonna come and give bread. And so they develop these things, and they have that instinct to do that. And humans do this too, because it's finite thinking. So don't give credit to a process, give credit to yourself. You did that, not that process. Throw away the process. What if darkness is the breakthrough loop portal to light? Darkness is everything. Light is a part of creation. So I am going to do a book about my energies story, but because and the reason why I'm going to do it is because it's going to be a lot, because there's a lot going on. Is because I do this in sessions for everybody. I help them get to that point, and you can be in any stage. It doesn't matter, but you have to feel like you're about to remember and want to remember. And memory and remembering is not a past thing; it is your information. So you're getting zip files all the time, but we ignore them, and they're just sitting there. And so my job and what I love to do is to say, hey, you already are doing this. Because a lot of people say, oh, you're doing this in another boat. No, you're literally doing it, but you don't see it. And they're like sitting on your shoulders and they're all over. All these beautiful things that are waiting to be opened. And so I'm like, look, you have this little zip file here. Let's open it and have a look. And that's kind of what I'm helping people do, because it's not that people can't do it. It's that they don't even know that they have these things. And hopefully someone from Patreon comes on, because usually if they come up here, they can get personal, and I give them some tools that we try out together in the live. I do that in sessions as well, but it's a fun live thing that I like to do. And it's cool for everybody, I think. But yeah, that's for people who are in Patreon. And you can be any of the tiers also. And obviously you get tons of content as well. Oh, thank you for all the sharing and liking. It helps find people. We'll see. And we have 30 more minutes on the live, so hopefully people hop in. So, but it's been great anyway. Great questions. Keep them coming. But hopefully you guys can come in here, because that's when how fun it is. Do you tap into people by any chance? Only if they have sessions, because that's not nice to people. Oh, that's okay. We're here for that. We're here for this. So if you want to come up and ask questions, come up. But remember, they're for the collective unless you're a Patreon member. If you're a Patreon member, I'll give you personal tools and stuff with things that are going on in your life, or just questions that you have that are personal to you. Like, some people want to learn about their dreams. Some people want to learn about why they can't do this one thing or whatever. And I will send them packing with some tools. And usually when people come up that are from the Patreon, they kind of are like, it's like a thing, like they've made that commitment to be on Patreon. And so they're kind of like leaders. And when they do this, all the people in the live happen to need that tool, which is so cute. So if you feel like you're one of those leaders, can join one of the tiers in Patreon and let me know, because then we can do that. But yeah, it looks like people are busy. Yesterday there were 2, and it was really fun. So we'll see if some people come today. But yeah, but everyone can come up here to do the just questions that are about like what we've been talking about, just big questions and topics. And also, so everyone knows, I have little workbooks of those tools as well. So you don't have to do it that way. If you are one of those people that don't want to come up here, but you like being in the live, and you want to try it out in your life, I have 2 workbooks. I'm working on some more. I'm very excited about it. They're always fun to make. And this is my link in bio. Also, I obviously do sessions, which I love as well. Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah, so one of the tool books, they're in the back. I draw them. So one is building bridges to the gods, but that applies to everything. So it's building bridges to all the different parts of you. So I picked gods because gods are very helpful in general, because there's a lot going on with that. And so that's why I picked gods, because it could be anything, but I think they're the best because they're the best for doing that, and they're the job role kind of gods. And then I do a tools one, and it has, I'm not sure. I think last time I checked, when I did it, because I did it a while ago. So I think there's 7 tools, and then the next one's going to have more as well. I'm going to do a part 2. Please tell us more about darkness. First time I hear its potential. Yeah, if you want, I can tell you more, but you'd have to ask questions about it, because Oh, thank you. Yeah, and also the Patreon, the second tier has uh it's called mind body spirit, and so it basically it's like harmonizing your mind body spirit, and it's kind of, you can think of it, we were talking about it yesterday, it's like a little silver platter of things that you might have thought about or haven't thought about, and it's a bit of like reframing. So and I think, I can't remember, I think there's about 20 videos, and it's on the second tier. And also there's just a lot, I have a lot of classes on Patreon as well, and um, also like the tier, like I think the third tier, yeah, it's the third tier, I talk about my experiences with the writing the book and what I've gone through and stuff like that, so the energies that come through and talk to me, and how I know them, and it can give people a taste. And then there's also practicing with energies. I have that on TikTok, a big series about that. I think there's like 30 or 30 30 to 34 different energies, that it's called practicing with energies, so that people can get an idea of how they, like I interviewed them kind of, and each one wanted to like show different things. It was funny. And I moved the rest of them because they were small, like TikTok ones, and then they became really long and involved, and it's kind of evolved on Patreon as well. So yeah, Elaine, is it Elaine? Is that how you say your name, Elaine Rodriguez? Did you want to ask a question specifically about the darkness stuff? And it would probably be your first time, but it feels familiar because there was a distortion with light as an energy, like as a being. There was a distortion that was happening. And so when that happens to those bigger energies, we're within those bigger energies. So when they have that issue, then we are going to definitely have that issue. So it like applies to everything. At the moment, she's going by she, and she's kind of having a distortion awakening, if that makes sense. And it's, I don't know if it makes sense to people, but uh, it's one of my origins. So um, I'm kind of delaying it because there's a storyline about that where she kind of left the other energy and split off and kind of caused some weird things and stuff. I don't know. It's complicated. But anyway, I'm writing a book about it, so you guys can read that when I write it. But also on Patreon, I started talking about it as well. Not all of it. But yeah, if you ask specific questions about it, I can tell you. But one thing that is coming up is when people say things about dark, when they say, "Oh, I just like I'm discovering my darkness," or "Oh, I went through a dark place." They're saying like I went through a dark night of the soul, or I had a tough time. But actually, what's happening is, or like when someone says, "Oh, that's such a dark thing to do," they're all using dark and their potential and things like that. But in those cases, they all mean different things. So one means like you're going through a bad time. One means you are doing shadow stuff, like that you didn't do it and your energy is just working on it for you because you're not doing anything. And so it's an emergency because new information's coming in and it doesn't match what's going on. And then the other one where they say like, that was such a dark thing to do. They're using their potential and their imagination to do something, but the darkness, badness stuff is just from trauma. So they're trauma actions. So I wouldn't say that it's evil or dark. I would say that if this is a person having a trauma response and they need help, or they need to be like not punished, but they need to be put away so that they can get the help that they need because they're hurting others because they can't heal and they keep like, taking it out on others and things like that. So that's what that I would say. I don't think anyone is evil. I think that that's what's happening because it's a human thing. Hello. Okay, so someone has a question that's perfect for our reframing spirituality from the dark to the light lower. Okay, so would you guys like to come in the chat? Because it's complicated for me to answer just the text. So who would like to hop in? I've done quite a lot with people just doing text, but it's very complicated for me. It's more fun as well when people talk. So Of the two of you, would you like to join me up here? We have the Truth Cast, and we have Ian. Ian? Ian kind of said a statement. I don't know if that was a question. But maybe it is. I'm not sure. I'll leave it up to you guys. And we have 20 more minutes. And then I'm going to head off. Would you like to come up here, gold metal snake? But questions and stuff. Oh, that's okay. Hopefully someone will like to come up. If someone comes up, even if like I answer another question, it's still easier because it's just there's like there's movement in the live because it's very weird on my end. You guys, it's fine, but on my end, it's very weird because I've been doing this for like, I don't know, more over like, I'd say almost 3 years. I used to do it every day in the old days. And it's always been weird because it's like people are just like texting, and it might be weird for you guys as well because like you have to fit things in and stuff. And now that we've been doing it in this box, it's amazing. It's so freeing, and yeah, I think it's really good. But I do know people sometimes just want to listen and stuff, but we have to have people talking, right? So you can listen. But yeah, I don't mind answering your your topic question, Truthcast, if someone else wants to hop in here, though. And also, I would appreciate if people don't do statements unless it's a topic they want to bring up for us to bring it up and talk about it. But statements are a bit like it's boring for people that are in the live, including me. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what comments are for. Like we're live, like, right? It's discussion time. You guys can leave those anyone who wants to put statements, you can leave them on my videos. You're welcome to leave them on my videos. That's what videos are for. That's okay. I hope that there's something for you to listen to. But yeah, if you guys like and do anything you can do, that will bring people in as well. So it's up to you. And we, like I said, we have about 10 more minutes too. And the thing is if someone does come up, I might stay a little bit longer, but today I'm staying for an hour. So it'll be an hour and 10 minutes. Oh, you have many questions. Oh, exciting. I'm excited. Last weekend I didn't come live, but depending on if I have clients or not, we'll see. If I have clients, I might come live. The time I come normally is about 9 or 9:30 Greenwich Mean Time. So, PM. And I'm limiting myself because the last week I went for 4 hours in 2 videos. And by the way, you guys can listen to my lives. I've been putting them up on YouTube. Like right now I have YouTube here. So you guys can go to my YouTube and have a look. Oh, I've neglected the YouTube. Let's see if people said anything. Sorry, everybody who's in. Let's see. Okay, no one said anything. They're just looking. Yeah, the only thing we can't talk about is if you're like, it's like I said, it can't be too personal because it's my boundaries, because otherwise I will go wild, because it's my specialty and I love it, and I will just go for it, and then it's not fair to others. And so for Patreon members, it's set up in a certain way. So if you are a Patreon member, then like I said, usually people who are, they kind of are like leaders, like with energy almost. It's wild. When they come on and they have something to say, everyone in the live actually needs it. So what I do is they come talk about something. It could be a topic, it could be what they're working on, it could be how they feel about something. When they do, then I give them tools, and then it's like everyone on the live usually wants it. So if you guys want to do that, whenever you would like to do that, and like I said, there's tons of stuff on Patreon as well. Um, but yeah, long voice notes and videos and all kinds of stuff is on there. Anyone up for coming up? I'll just continue cutting my art stuff while I wait. Okay. Because it's close to time to go, I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna spoil you. Okay. So the soul trap simulation is legit. Okay. So soul trap is not possible. So and soul things like that, if someone taking your soul or anything like that, it's not possible. And I will explain why. So it is like in the ocean, or well, let's not use the ocean. Let's use a human. So it's like a cell in a human body telling another cell that they're gonna give the body to that other cell, or they're gonna take the body to that, give that other cell. Do you see how funny that is? So, same thing with traps. How can you be trapped when you're all like connected together, and it's about POV and the focus of where you're looking? So now, okay, what do the people mean then? So when people think of these concepts like soul traps, it comes from someone like Dolores Cannon, for example. We're going to give her as an example. Poor thing, I've been bringing her up a lot. Um, she was someone who was very much in pain and like emotionally as a person, and she never went deep within and worked on herself. And so she depended on clients to write all her things. And the reason why this is dangerous is because the whole reason why, not dangerous, but unfortunate, I'd say more than dangerous, is because what happens is when you do something like this, you are basically taking information from that person's energy that are symbols specifically for that person and specifically for what that person needs and wants. So not only is there going to be misinterpretations, but when I talk about zip files, your keys, the memory keys, when you receive one of those, they are a zip file that you open with folders in it. And it's up to you when you look through them, how you look through them, and how you engage with them in your life, or just keep them inside and integrate them, or both. And so when you go to a session with someone who writes books based on those sessions about how everything works, how is that right? Right? And so something like this, when they talk about stuff like this is what we were talking about earlier in the live. It's all about context and POV. So the POV, who is this? What is blah, blah, blah? They don't question anything. They don't go deeper into it. What is it in relation to that person? What is that person, not what they're doing in their life, but like what style of energy does this person have? Style of energy is basically you sitting there and you're doing something without doing anything because you're holding that energy. You're bringing that to this simulation. Now, I hope that makes sense about the trap thing, and also makes sense why humans would even say these things. They're not lying, they're intercepting people's memories, and memories are not past things, they're your information. They are yours, they are your truth. And your truth is the bigger field of your energy that you're within. So, like I said, the analogy with the body, and then there's like the little cells talking to each other and saying weird stuff like that. And so, when you're doing this stuff and you have these patterns, obviously you're going to, like, your truth is going to be that, and it's going to be varied inside that bigger truth, right? And then you have the infinity truth that everyone has. So there's two main truths, and then there's many truths within that as well, right? So that's what truth means. Truth is your direct energy outside of this matrix, and it's not even outside, because this is even inside as well. But from a human's perspective, it's outside. So it's like, because basically a human's perspective is always one focus. Even when people talk about passing away, they always talk about it as if it's one thing. It's not like that. I will be doing meditations soon, that are like little voice notes that are not really meditations, because I don't think I think meditations put people off. I'd say it's more of a thought program, or not thought program, but what do you call it? A thought experiment for yourself to try out. And the reason why I say it's a thought experiment is because it's going to get you started on ways of thinking so that you can find out ways that work for you. Whereas if it's a meditation, you're like, okay, I have to do a meditation. I have to do this. I have to do that. You know, this, you literally can just take a lunch break and go in the toilet and like literally for a second think about some stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like a big thing, right? So the reason why I want to do these is people always think that it's this one thing, and they think, oh, ego death and all that stuff. No, that is basically, when people talk about ego and death, it's one POV. So when someone takes drugs and then they have an ego death, they're not. Their one perspective is being put on the side, and then when that one perspective is like sitting on the bench, you get to be all the perspectives of yourself, or one or two or three. So anyway, I want to help people be able to have that experience. And every time you see those, what do you call it, near-death experiences, those are normal experiences you can have. You don't need to, that's not actually death. Death is a redistribution of your POVs and energy. And it means different things. It's going to be different per person. And there's all kinds of stuff. And it's all happening at once. It's not one perspective where you're going, no, it's all over. So those perspectives people are having, and they're actually alive, is you being able to explore while being alive. That's what it means. So even though your body looks like, seems like it's not. Like, it means that you're not yet, or it's just an experience that is a part of life. Like, all of those things they talk about, I have them all the time, like, just all the time, like, because of what I work on and do and things like that. And you can too. And you probably do, but you just don't, you just like, whatever, like, you know? Okay. All right, I am gonna go in a few minutes. So if there's either, if there's someone that wants to come up here, I will stay on longer. But if you guys have one more question, I can answer it in the text as well. But I prefer this because then it's more fun. But I understand that there's a lot of people here that want to probably just listen. So yeah, so we'll see what happens. Is someone going to come up here, or is someone going to ask a question in the chat? And then I'm going to head off after. But I will be back. And like I said, my Patreon has filled with tons of stuff. So. No more questions? And by the way, for the person that the truth cast, the other thing is I wanted to mention. I don't know if you were here earlier. I don't think you were. We were talking about how it's important to acknowledge that when people do come up with those things, it's not that it's wrong, it's that it is a very human, finite perspective. And we were talking about how to identify. It's a process to start working on, of how to identify when something's finite or infinite. And then you do some finite or infinite thinking. So like if you want to bake a cake, then finite thinking. If you want to explore your infinity and learn more about energy and stuff, then it's going to be infinity, right? Can you recommend a good detox regimen? I have charcoal, but wondering what else. Okay, so Bona, whoever just asked to come up, I'll answer you in a second, Stephanie. Do you want to write down what your question is, Bona? Those are the rules. Your question or topic, and then you can come up here. So I'm going to answer Stephanie's question while we're waiting for the Bona to answer. So basically, what I recommend for detox is probably not a physical body thing. Well, there's two things. For me, a detox would be. Oh, you want to know about the detox too? Okay. But that's perfect. Okay, I'll let you up here. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Okay. So for me, the what's coming up from Infinity is to basically we are very focused. I talk about the internal reality and the internal external reality and the external reality. So the internal reality is all the things you think about yourself, the way that you treat yourself, the way that you see life, the way that when someone says something, um, work with that. How all of that basically is your internal reality, and it's obviously more complicated than that. But I'm keeping it simple to stay on topic. Then you have the internal external reality, and that's all the shared things that you pay attention to or participate in within like two minimum people group. So that can be religion, it can be celebrities, it can be TikTok videos, it can be my lives, it can be a friendship, it can be a partner, anything, right? And the external reality. So the external reality is a product of all of those things. So if you work on learning about yourself and you work on, and when I say work on, I'm talking about detoxing. When you detox and you really look at how you are operating and go deeper and deeper and deeper and focus on what you like and what you don't like, and then in that internal external reality, which is all those shared things, you pay attention of why you're focusing on those things. Now here's the complicated part. So all of them spill, right? The complicated part is things like politicians and war will take our attention because they are made to do this. They are made to take up space and to take attention. And so when people say that there's evil things going on, it's not that. It's actually them taking up your time, your space, your emotions, everything. And so the first thing to detox is this, as an adult, is to look at all of those things that you're looking at. And instead of giving your energy, whether you like it or not, really making sure that you want to vote for that to be the overflow spill into the external reality. Because we're voting with those decisions and how we pay attention. Now, if we're angry at something, what we do is we use a mirror and we take our energy back and we start doing shadow work and we start going, why am I angry? When did this first start happening? And you start talking to your shadows based on the reaction you have to one of those external things, right? And then that way those versions of you are assets that are going to help you remember to not keep paying attention to those things too much. You're going to be like, remember, this is like not helpful. You're going to give your energy to this. Let's work on this instead. And so some people would be like, okay, but then we're not being able to do anything. I feel powerless. You're not. Because then when you detox like this, then you start to see your energy style and you get to see how you want the change to be. And then after you've done that and you really are like aware of what's going on, then you can be the change that you want to see. You can be the change to yourself and what you do. You can be the change to every single person you come across, and it's going to overflow into there. So that's the detox that I suggest. I know you guys probably wanted things to eat and things like that, but that is like, that's going to come with that when you do that.
How many times should we eat?
I can't hear you. Let me turn
How
up.
many times should we eat a day?
How many times do you want to eat?
Yeah, should we eat?
No, I'm asking you, how many times do you want to eat?
I mean, I'm skinny.
No, how many times do you
I
want
think I
to?
should eat.
No, no, not that. What? How many times do you want to eat? What feels right for you?
I think more than three or
Okay,
two.
that's how many times you should eat. No one should tell you this.
Yeah, okay.
No one should tell you this. And if
It's
they
your body.
do, it's not fair to you because they're not going to live your life, are they? The only
Yeah,
time that someone should tell you this is if you ask for their advice as a medical professional because you have a problem. But if you don't have a problem, why would you why who cares what people say? Right? But if you have a
yeah,
problem,
yeah,
yeah, obviously you cuz remember I was saying earlier in the live finite thinking and infinite thinking. Finite thinking is your everyday life human systems. So if you need a desired outcome, you're having a problem, you can't it's ruining your life, you can't do this, blah blah blah, then you go to a physician who is also finite thinking, who knows how to help with those things, and then you get their advice. But if you're just living your life and you're having a great time, why do you need to hear what someone needs to tell you? Right? That's you putting yourself,
yeah,
and you're unempowering yourself and not having a fun time on earth, right?
yeah.
It should be
And
enhancing your
yeah,
life. Like,
I'm
right?
25. I have never drink an alcohol.
Yeah.
Uh, I've never smoke. Just even if I eat like noodles,
Uh-huh.
my body feels something is wrong.
What do you mean by
So
that?
I mean like mm, foods that are fabricated, which are not organic.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh, it changes your body.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't feel good.
But why are you
Like
eating it
phone
then?
addiction.
Why are you eating it then?
No, I just
Why aren't you
tested
having
it.
like an avocado instead?
There is
Or
some logic behind a food we consume. That's why I want to issue it
yeah, but don't you
later
have
with
that? You
details.
know, right now you just told me some information. You said when you have those processed foods, you don't feel good. So you know.
Yeah,
So why would you need anybody to tell you that? You clearly know. And you're right.
just I want to know detox. My friend have been detoxing many times,
Yeah. What I talked about is the
and
detox that we need to do. And those things will come.
okay,
Because the more that you know about yourself, I mean, like, really know, not just like, I'm a human, like, really know. And you start your memory process. Memory is not in the past, memory is your information about you, your energy. Once you get that process going, you will know. Me personally, I can give you an example of me. Me personally, I love eating specifically crustaceans, green things, and things like that because I am connected with them. So, for example, like a mussel, like a sea mussel, I love this because they are the filters of the sea. And to me, that is such a beautiful thing. I want to connect with that part of Earth because that's what food is anyway. It is connecting with Earth. How do you want to connect with Earth? And so if you feel connected with that, those are the things that are going to make you sing, right? And when I have greens,
yeah,
it has to do with I can feel like how it makes my body feel and how all those kinds of things. So those are just some examples. I love a lot of things. I love salmon as well. But for me, going deeper
are you
into the
vegan?
food is actually important. Not detox. Detox shows that you have a problem, right?
Are you vegan?
I'm kind of a vegetarian, but I have fish and crustacean things. So, but I don't like. I wouldn't say I'm anything because I don't think that en things like vegetarian or any of those things, and we put ourselves
Yeah.
in boxes.
Do you
I'm.
enjoy
We
steak?
are all bigger than that. We are all bigger than that. We are big, magical beings. And to me, that's boring. Like, why would I need to, like, have that? Like, if someone needs to know, or there's a menu and I'm doing finite thinking, if someone's like, oh, like, I'm in a situation with a person and they're like, oh, do you eat meat or do you do this? Then that's when I would say my preferences. But other than that, what the story I tell myself is, how do I want to connect with nature? How do I want to feel like, do I want to feel like I have energy to go to the gym? Do I want to feel like I have energy to blah blah blah? Like these kind of things. It's about you knowing yourself. It's not about other
Yeah.
people, unless you're in a situation that's with other people, right?
Your point is like enjoy what your body wants to do, like
Be connected, not just
be
enjoy,
connected.
connected. Have conversations
Yeah.
with your body, with your food, with your energy, with everything. Be connected. Start
Yeah.
remembering.
Chill.
You're befriending yourself. You're not going outside to ask people about you. You're befriending, you're learning from yourself. All the stuff I
Okay.
do, I learn from myself. All of
I,
this.
I I followed you today
Oh,
because
did
I
you?
want to. Yeah, yeah. I just followed you. What's what is it about? Yeah, I'm a living memory.
I'm living
Uh,
memory. I'm an unveiler and keeper of memory keys. Embodiment of origins. 1 second. Embodiment of origins, channel and philosopher of the infinite. This is a collective curiosity live Q&A. Ask on soul memory, mapping, origins, our simulation. Want to come and talk to me
yeah,
live? Type your topic.
yeah. Is it about spiritual or
So,
philosophical?
reframing spirituality, for one. So, reframing means helping people to explore what each of these words and topics that people talk about in spirituality, what it means to them. Not some book. Everyone could read a book. What does it mean to you? And so I help people to get to the point where it's easy for them to find out what that means to them. And if you're a Patreon member, I can help with tools to help, and everyone gets to see how that works. But on the live, that's how it works. I show you how, and then you can just like do it if you want. But it's basically coming back to you, your truth, your bigger energy truth, all of it, the expansion of you.
Yeah.
So
You
do
look so cute, by the way.
you know
I
the
like your skin, your
what?
brightness.
What?
You look so cute.
Thank you. It's funny to hear that at my
I
age.
I meet a girl called Alicia,
Okay.
and you look like her.
Oh, I look like her? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we share energy.
Yeah, and now she's in Senate. In Senate,
Oh,
the
she's on the
project.
internet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hello, you3. You got to come
Hey,
up.
yeah, I want to talk about maybe like is there like a technique you recommend to tap into ourselves a little bit more?
No, that's up to you. So you would come to me with the stuff, and then I give you tools. But it's for Patreon members, so um,
Oh,
yeah. But I still, this whole live I've been giving you guys tools anyway, but it's not directly to you. It's for everybody. So like the ones that are for you, like if you go, hey, I was doing this, like what's this? Then I, instead of me going, this is what it is, I say, here's some tools of how you get to explore this. Let's explore this together. And not only are we exploring it together on the live and you're learning a tool, but later you get to use that for other times it happens. So one, I think yesterday, someone had a question of about a dream. So people would be like, this is the symbol of blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, okay, we're going to go through the dream together and we're going to go and do this. And this is how you find out this, this, and this. And then the person's like, oh my God, I'm going to visit that dream again. That's kind of what I do. So I don't, you know how people just
mm-hmm.
tell you what? I'm not doing that.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm empowering you and bringing your sovereignty back because everyone thinks that they aren't sovereign and they're not themselves and they have to get everything from everybody else. I was doing that with Bona in the beginning. I was telling Bona this. I was like, why does someone have to tell you how to eat? Why? When it's about how you connect to earth, why would that person know better than you? Unless they're a physician and you came to them because you had a problem. Like, why would you just like, who would know that better than you? Right?
Yeah, That's true.
and it's more fun. I used to do classes that was about consumables, and I showed people how to explore while they're eating. It's very fun, but you don't have to do it all the time. It's just something fun to do, because you can connect better. So that would be a tool also. If you guys were Patreon members and you asked about this, I probably would show you some tools of how to do that. But I did do it anyway. But they would be specific for you, so because it would be your energies suggesting those tools.
Oh, okay, okay. It's crazy because like I've been having like memories come back like in the past that memories that you forget and then you remember later on like, oh wow, that happened.
Yeah.
It was something that was like kind of like hidden. It's like,
And remember, they're not past. It's past in a conversation when you talk to people, but it's not past. It's your information. It's another version of you that's still continuing stuff, and you're connecting with them. They're yours.
But don't you think the existence and the development of a human nature is based on the social life, like
It's based on all of the above.
yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't just pick one thing. It's on the cool things that you get up. Hello, someone said hi on the YouTube one. Yeah, it's about everything. Like, you know how people, like, you're trying to narrow it to one. I wouldn't say that. Like me, for example, I make art. I'm writing a book about my origins. I do sessions. So, and I have, I hang out with my friend, and I have a studio and we go there. Like, so how could that be one thing, right? That's my life right now. So, like, I would be sad if I had to have only one. I want to have more even than that. But that, you know what I mean? Like, there's even more I'm leaving out. Oh, I also have the Patreon, so I put content on there as well. I do these lives. I've been doing these lives for years. Go ahead.
I was thinking of that thing where you said infinite thinking.
Yeah.
And it really is a solution to almost every situation you have in your life. Like even the most, like even like rock bottom, like with infinite thinking, you could really just it helps you like find a solution. I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I'm thinking like, oh yeah, there's no way out.
Yeah.
But as long as you're alive, I feel like
you're still able to. You get to have both, and it's like. It's not about one is better than the other. That's what people say all the time because they're scared or confused. It's about actually focusing on those. Like focusing on, is that a better tool to use or not? Like, that's why when people get really wild in spirituality and they're like saying like, I'm doing these grid things and I'm blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, you have a kid. Go like be with your kid. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's like the kids crying in the background. They're like, oh my God. Like, like that's not appropriate, right? But and then people be like, oh, they're having psychosis. I'm like, no, they just don't know how to use their tools. They don't know how that, like, just because you have access and can see what's going on doesn't mean you're doing it, right? Like, your energy is, but like, it doesn't mean you're doing it, and that your kid doesn't need you. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like those kind of things. It's knowing when to use finite thinking and when to use infinite thinking, right? Because
like a balance.
What was that?
Like a balance, like balance.
Yeah, it's a balance, but it's also just I wouldn't even say balance because balance means that you have to measure it. I would say it's exactly what you need at that time, and knowing when that's appropriate for you, or also when you're the context of something. So for example, if someone's getting angry online about Jesus or something like that, what you would do is you would put the context there. This person, if they're angry, it has nothing to do with Jesus. That person is very angry and upset and they're trying to prove something, and you probably have no business being in it anyway. So just like, move on, right? But like that's the thing. You can see that person from their context, their POV, their situation, you can see that it might not be a good energetic match for you. You're not going to connect, right? Because the energetic match is not just like your bigger energies, it's also you as a human, what you've done, where you are right now, what kind of, things you work on. You're not it's not that person's gross or whatever, it's that you're not a good match. So people that have arguments like and get mad at each other, I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, you know?
Because it's like different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the
And
thing is if you're a good match, people might think like if you're really passionate, like there's two passionate people and they're yelling or something, that's not a fight. That is a discussion and they're sharing their truth and they're respecting each other and they're getting passionate about it. So that's also the difference. So people will be like, "Oh, you know, but I want to like talk and discuss things." Yeah, that's the talking and discussion and being appreciative of both, right? Both people are being appreciative and excited to talk to each other. But when someone's coming to prove someone, that's stupid. Like, why are you doing that? It's so boring. It's
yes, I feel like people reject being open.
yeah,
Like, yeah, they reject it by really believe. I don't know. I
yeah.
truly believe in not like having a strong belief system in something like permanently.
But
Like
see
almost
that,
be
but
open
belief
to
systems,
believe.
yeah, but beliefs. Sorry to interrupt, but belief systems have to do with finite thinking because belief is a desired
Mm,
outcome. So whenever I would try to work also at reframing your way of talking because even if you're like, okay, yeah, belief is actually not helpful. Belief is when you're thinking infinite wise and someone goes, these are my beliefs, that is you going back to finite again and it's going to confuse you. So belief is basically believing in something that has nothing to do with something you've explored. That's what belief means. Now,
oh, okay, I get what you're
trust,
saying.
people confuse trust and belief. Trust is different. Trust is trusting in something. For example, when I talked about finite thinking, and let's say someone's talking about something, and in that finite thinking, they basically are very angry about something. They're not going to be able to move on from that because they're so stuck in that belief. They're just like, I think this, I think this, I think this. And so with those the difference between belief and trust would be like, okay, I'm afraid of this, but I know I'm afraid of this because I don't have the bigger picture. And then you choose instead of fear, you change into trust because you go, okay, I can't do anything about finding out the rest of what's not there, but I'm going to trust that it's just a bigger thing and I shouldn't be afraid because it's just a bigger thing and I only have a tiny bit of information. So, for example, there's this lady that was talking about seven and stuff like that, and that was like a thing on TikTok and stuff. And people were afraid of the end of the world. And the reason why they were afraid of it is because of the unknown, right? So when you're afraid of the unknown and the unknown, it means that they didn't give you information. They gave you a tiny piece of a bigger thing that you can feel the bigness of it. And so, like I said, you can transform fear into trust. So not belief, but trust. And trust is like you knowing that there's a bigger picture. There's an analogy that they talk about where they say there's these five scientists and they're blindfolded and there's an elephant and they don't know it's an elephant and they're touching different areas and they're guessing what they're touching. And then they take off their blindfolds and they see that every single person got it wrong because they didn't see the bigger picture. Fear is those blindfolds. So if you trust, someone says, though, if that person with the blindfold, the scientist, trusted that it's okay that I don't know, like they said that's wrong, and they're like, okay, that's fine because I can't see the bigger picture. And then the other one's not fine with it, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna find a way, I'm gonna touch more of it. Do you see what I mean? So it's up to us to trust. So not believe. Believe only means, like I said, it's finite thinking, which is fine, but belief would happen if you're like, um, let's say you're a teenager and you're living with your parents and your parents like say like, oh, I never did drugs and I'm like a perfect person and I did blah 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 blah. That would be a belief system. Like you can believe them and the belief would be okay because that's your parent. So it's not trusting. It kind of is, but it's more of a belief. You're believing in them as a on a pedestal, and that
Mhm.
could be a good thing because then you go, okay, well they're my role model. But it could be a really horrible thing later in life when you find out that they were lying. But at the same time, it kind of gave you some stability so you understand and you're like, okay, I get it. And then they explain why and they give you context. But that would be a type of belief that's for finite thinking that actually you'd be like, okay, well, that makes sense, right? But that, yeah, I would really look at things about belief, like when people are talking. I did that for a couple years. I just watched myself. I watched how I think about each time someone says belief. I thought about it when I was saying it. And then I was like, actually, I every time I wanted to say belief, I actually didn't want to say it. So I'm going to stop. So I stopped saying
That's
it
so true.
completely. I stopped saying it completely because it doesn't mean the same thing like as what people think. I don't think. Yeah, right? I don't know.
Wow, you gave me a whole different
Do you
perspective. That
prefer
was really good.
Oh, I'm glad that that helped. What was that?
do you prefer to express your opinion, or do you want to do you prefer to stay silent in terms of getting persuasions and peer pressure, maybe?
You're asking what my preference is?
I mean, if you have your own stance, uh, people might not like you. I mean,
Yeah, but who cares, right?
so do you prefer isolation,
But the thing is
isolating
that you
yourself?
won't. I don't think that you have to choose these things. What makes you like? Because you've asked a lot of choice things like this. What makes you think that you have to choose one or the other? Do you think that you have to, and why?
No. Mm,
Right? So to me, I
yeah.
feel like living life is about understanding you why you do things, and then when you get to the opportunity to have a choice, then you might choose everything or more, right? But I
Yeah.
think understanding yourself and understanding your boundaries, and boundaries are basically, you can think of the bouncer as bouncers of your life and your energy, and how much you can
Right.
give. So you're like, okay, well, when I'm having this conversation with this person, it makes me feel drained. It's not their fault yet, or maybe it is, but it's not really their fault at that point. You know that you're drained, so why are you pushing yourself to keep talking to that person? Then you ask yourself, okay, I'm talking to this person because I work with them and I want to have a good work environment. And you're like, okay, that's a reason, but I need to limit my time every time they walk by, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. So you choose what you can do in every scenario. So if someone just tells you what to do, like if you ask someone and they like me, if I just say, how is that going to help you when you're in one of those scenarios? You have loves and likes and dislikes that are different than everyone. Why would you know what I mean? So like why would anything be good like that? But peer pressure is basically again giving your power away. So it is just only doing the things that people say. Like just be like, oh, those people are doing it, so I have to do it too. Like who cares? I think also I am a little bit privileged because it's like a sad privilege. But when I was a child, when I was in school, I was made fun of really a lot, like for no reason. Like people are just so mean to me in all kinds of ways. So for me, I don't care. I really don't care if someone says it. I'm like, I've heard it all. Like I really don't care. And on here, I've had lots of trolls, and I did a lot of energy work so that now there's so many of you guys that are so cool. You guys are coming. Your energy is coming in so much that there's less of the troll space. So like it's been a very long time since there's been a troll. There's been people who got upset, but they're not trolls. They were just humans that were upset. They're not people there to like be mean and be weird. But I had a lot, and it made me sad because they talked about a lot of like money things and stuff like that, and that was making me sad because I'm like, okay. It's like to me it feels
Okay.
like this is a market stall, and someone's
Let
going
me
into your
tell
market
you.
stall and being like, what is your problem, why are you like this? And I told them that and they were like, oh, but that's how it feels to me. It's like these little lives are like market stalls, and like why would you come and like do that? It's so weird, right?
Yeah. Let me tell you what happened. So, I mean, this experience, I was really surrounded by friends. Like the whole schools are my friends. Then, in my campus life, in college, I joined law school, and all those people, I was not independent. Like when you are surrounded, you don't know who you are. You don't discover what your potential is. I was a really creative person. I do creative, like I, I imagine something, I do it, and all those experience led me to separate myself from. If you are in law school, adding to do creativity like that, you will go burnout
You would
without
what?
doing
You would
anything.
go what?
Burnout.
What do you mean by that?
I do experience burnout. Mean you
Like bad
don't do
grades?
something.
Oh.
You don't do something. You have a lot of tasks, but you do not do it.
Oh, so procrastination?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's called burnout.
Okay.
Then, then just I recently later I start freelancing jobs, and I give myself time. Like I read a book. Some of them are really bad, you know.
Mhm.
I'm a Christian. When you read, if you are a Christian, you have to protect your surrounding
Why? I grew up
from
Catholic.
psychological.
I.
From
What do you mean?
actually, I read many dark psychological books.
Why are they dark?
That's not good. That's not good.
What? How is it not good? It's
That's
just
not good.
humans creating
Even
stuff.
if, yeah, my eyes are opened.
Why is it not good?
I mean,
The book is
my
not
eyes
good?
are opened. Yeah, if you are a politician, it's good.
Okay.
You can use that. But like
Why?
to experience life positively, it's good. But you cannot survive if you are a part of social studies like law. Something it's good
But
if
says who?
you,
But
yeah,
says who? This is like okay, so what you're
emotional
saying,
intelligence is
yeah, but what I'm
a
saying
great
is
thing.
you're trying to weigh things. You're saying good and positive and negative and doing that. I don't think that that is appropriate. I think it's every person has a different way of looking at it. And so yours is good. Like yours is like good for you, but I don't think that's for everyone. I think some people
Yeah,
like I don't like and you having that opinion is just about how you see things. And you never know, it might not even be you because you're trying to make it for everyone. So it might actually be something that is, I call them programs, a lot of people do. They're programs. So it means that someone else in your life has said this, and you've decided that, like, you don't even know if you think that way as well, right? So if you think that
yeah,
something's bad, you need to really see why you think it's bad, because maybe it's not. And also, like, why do you care, right? Like, if your interests are not that, like, for example, me, my interests are history, literature, and myths and stuff, and like arts and things like that. And if someone is showing me about a politician who made a strategy, that would not be my interest. So I wouldn't care. I wouldn't say, oh my God, that's such a weird thing or bad. I would just be like, bye, this is not my interest. Or I would be polite about it. Or another interest I have is knowing how people think about it. So if someone doesn't tell me about what that politician did and they tell me how they feel and think about it, I would be interested in that. So, but I have boundaries that I've worked on, and they're not that solid because I haven't been working on them that long. I grew up not even knowing what boundaries were, but I've worked on them a lot. And so now when these things happen, I know that where my boundaries are. I know that I can't give someone that much attention, and I would let them know. I'd be like, my I'm very interested in hearing what you have to say about this, but I would not be able to participate in this conversation if you just tell me like facts, for example, or something that they did in the media or the news. That would not be interesting to me. So
Yeah,
that's us learning our
you are
boundaries
right.
and what we like, and then when we have a
Yeah,
conversation with someone, we know how to tell people these things, and we find ways to enforce those things. And you go, hey, you know what, I'm not like, this isn't interesting. But for you to spend time on only doing that, like thinking about that, why are you wasting your time? Right? Like, who cares what those people
yeah,
are doing? Like, who cares? Like if you read that book and you were like, I don't like this, just who cares? And then the thing
yeah.
you said about Christianity, I haven't heard that. I grew up Catholic and there's nothing having to do with that. Like, like do you know what I mean? Like, that's not what my experience was. So you saying it's hard to be a Christian, maybe not. Maybe it is for you, or maybe it is for the type of Christian or what you learned, right? So
It's a slide.
it's
It's a
about
slide.
you. Right?
Yeah,
It's not a bad thing. It's about you. So like making those statements about everyone is probably not appropriate, right? But it is appropriate for you to say, my experience as a Christian feels like this. I'm this type of Christian. This is this is why I think this. Do you see what I mean? That is
yeah.
more, I'd say, healthy and expressive, and you know, it's gonna bring more value to your life to do that, because you're actually expressing yourself. But if you're just saying Christians are
Yeah.
like this or these people are like this, it's very boring, right? I bet you're bored
It's
when you bring those things up, right?
I mean, this opinion was before 2 or 3 years, but now I appreciate me discovering that it's a life experience. I'm 20. I'm 25 now. It's a life experience. I discover all the things now. You know,
Yeah.
I've developed a lot of skills. Uh, Also, it's important if you are a mature person. It's important to develop emotional intelligence.
Okay, but you're doing it
It's
again.
very
You're doing it again. You're telling people that they need to do something.
yeah.
I'm
I
old.
mean,
I'm old. I'm gonna
it's
be.
better
I'm older than you,
if
like a
you are.
lot older than you, and I would not tell someone that. And I focus on emotional
How old are you?
intelligence. Guess. You won't guess. No one can.
To 23, five,
No.
23.
At the end of this month, I'm going to be 40.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that to you. I'm not talking down to you and saying that, those things. I'm not saying people should be doing this. They need to. No, no one needs to do anything. They need,
Yeah.
but they do. If we're gonna force them, it would be for them to be nicer to themselves, and work on themselves and understand themselves better. But I don't think we should force anybody to do anything.
What
Right?
about children?
Especially not children. We should be supporting children, not making them do things. That's horrible. It's about support and guidance with what they want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go back to the part where you said about the boundaries.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of like usually when we make mistakes, like in my personal life, like I've been holding on to something that I messed up on like really bad, and I was like thinking like where's that coming from? Like why did it even happen that way? And I noticed that when we let others overstep our boundaries from like childhood, you don't notice you're overstepping others people's boundaries. Like it's harder for you to know what a boundary is when you haven't had a boundary. And it made me realize like maybe I needed to like step up my boundaries to know
Yeah, I'm
to
going
be
to
able to
stop you here. I'm going to
differentiate.
stop you here. Those are not boundaries. That is what people talk about boundaries. Boundaries are your limitations because you're a human. So what is your, like an example, like what's your limitation in, like for example, I'm going to give an example. I think Robin's in here. I gave this example to Robin. So let's say you are having like, you're having a very busy day and you have to send tons of emails and do lots of stuff, and you had planned to actually do some fun things for yourself that day, like you wanted to do like some self-care or whatever, but you didn't have time. And then you bump into someone that you kind of like, and they want to talk and stuff like that, and you like them, and so you're listening to them and they're just talking forever because they probably had an energizing day or whatever, and you feel very drained, and you didn't say anything, you just listened to what they were saying and you moved on, and you're like, oh my god, that person was talking forever, oh my god. That is someone who didn't have boundaries, doesn't even isn't aware of themselves, and also doesn't know how to enforce boundaries, all of the above. And so what would be a person who does and has practiced this is someone would be outside and they'd be like, they would tell that person, they would know because they have their boundaries set, they would see it happening, like a person coming to them, and they'd be like, they would know how to be nice. So some people would be like, they might be intense, whatever matches you as a person, you would have worked on that. So what you say to the person is say, oh my god, it's so cool, can we catch up later? You have my phone number, right? That's what you would do. I have to go, like I'm in a hurry. And you leave and you go and you protect yourself. Those are having boundaries, knowing yourself, and also enforcing those boundaries. When people say about people stepping on boundaries, that is just, those are people stepping on your preferences and being rude to you. That has nothing to do with boundaries. That's just people, bad behavior, or just that happens all the time. That's not boundaries. People can't do anything to your boundaries. You have to do the boundaries.
Are you kind of liberal?
I don't care about stuff like that.
Sorry to say that.
I don't care. I don't care about stuff like that. Those things are not important to me. It's not deep enough. Like, I just really don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm not interested. I'm interested in what people think about those things and how they do stuff about it, but I really don't care about that. I don't.
I mean,
I really don't.
The age.
Huh?
I mean the age. Not deeply.
What?
I mean the age. The age.
The age of
the
what?
Age of it.
The age of what?
The age of it. The age of liberal.
The age of liberal?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
The peak.
What do you mean by that? I don't understand.
Here.
Edge? I don't care about it. I told you, I really don't care. Like, these things are so boring to me. They're human systems that I don't care about. I care about what people think about them. I care about what they work on and do about them, but I don't care about systems. I don't care about that. They're boring and they're repetitive and the same things. But what people have to say about them and to do, I like that. That's what I like. I don't care about those things. You know, when people say
I'm
they're
amazed by your skin, actually.
Thank you. Okay, can we? Okay, wait, hold on a second. These are my boundaries. So can we? No, this is me to be nice about my boundaries. So these are my boundaries that I've put up here, and so they are. When we get personal, it is for Patreon members, and I will go for it, and I will give you tools, but that will be for Patreon people. But the topic still should be what we were talking about before. Let's stay on topic. Like, it's not, thank you for the compliments, but let's stay on topic. And I am gonna go soon because because otherwise the live will be so, like, the video on YouTube is gonna be so long. It's gonna be funny, but anyway, yeah. But yeah, let's stay on topic. Even though everybody is so cute, I'm not. It's just my boundaries as, like, I will get tired for, like, if it's not like about these topics. Because then it becomes like a social thing, and like sometimes too much social things drain me. But if it is us working together with our memories and things like that, it energizes me as well as it energizes you guys. So keeping it real.
Wait, do you know what age?
What?
Do you know what age you? Do you know what age you like tapped into yourself or were able to see these memories?
So this is a question, like, now it's almost impossible to answer. Before it was like getting harder and harder. And the reason why I say this is the more you learn about yourself and go deeper, the more you see that ever since you were born, you've been doing these things. And so people think that it's about waking up, but it's actually about seeing that you were awake all along and you're just ignoring all the things. So like I don't know anymore. I've connected with all the different versions of me, and so it's just so like I know all the things I was doing. I can see when I was like not kind of getting it, but I kind of did in a weird way. And so it, like I said, it starts to blend. But if you mean working with people instead of working in like my actual work stuff I've done, I can say that because that's linear. So I studied like ancient texts. Then I started studying art. Then I studied fashion. And then at the end, when all that was finished, then I started making, like, working in the fashion industry and drawing all the stuff that was in my collections. I started my own company. And then while I was doing the company thing, I was struggling because I didn't realize that it was just people wanted clothes. And it was very hard for me to just be honest with myself that only people want clothes. They don't want it in the way that I was thinking. And that if I actually did all the things that I wanted to do, then I could reintroduce clothes if I still want to. So I went through a whole process where I completely got out of the fashion industry. I stopped that company and transformed it. And when I did that, instead of me channeling and putting codes and memories in clothing and the prints and the photo shoots that I did, I then started making things for people to do it for themselves. And so I've been building that for quite some time, and I just keep building on it. So that's my work history as a human being. I talk about the three purposes. I used to say two, but now I'm saying the three because I think everyone's ready for the third. I'm the only one so far doing the third, but so far that I know, there might be some people that I find that are doing it, but not yet. So the first is us existing and pulling in the energy into the simulation that is the truth of their energy all the time, constantly streaming, constantly. Then the second one is I do the analogy of getting a job in Thailand, and you are able to explore Thailand at the same time as working there. And so what would you do when you're like doing that? Are you going to explore the food? Are you going to explore the culture? Are you going to try and learn Thai? Are you going to like make friends? What are you going to do? So that's your second purpose. So that could be like, let's say you're a nurse, you learn some skills, or you're an artist, or you're whatever. So that's something that, what do you want to do? What do you want to do when you're on this island or whatever, if you're on an island or whatever? And then the third one is learning deeply about those two and pulling consciously and translating consciously what your energy is already doing into this simulation and leaving a legacy behind for people and teaching them your style of energy, what it has, so that they can go and look for theirs as well. The third one, like I said, no one's doing that, but I hope that I want to be the change that I want to see in the world. So I hope that more people join me. So I'm helping so people can do that third one. But right now, the two are the normal purpose ones that everyone's doing. But yeah, I can do one more question. Still has to be on topic, and then I'm gonna head off. But I will be back on a soon. Oh, it was helpful. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy you found me for this live, because I think that like you were feeling scared about. Remember, you were being scared about God and stuff like that, and now you know that there's so much fun things. Oh, that's okay. You can type it here because we've been talking back and forth, so I've gotten the energy. Robin, did you have a question? I just saw you like the live. Thank you. But then I'm gonna head off after.
Like you said.
No, I'm not on every weekend, weekday. No. I'm on randomly. Go ahead.
Like you said, I've put my opinion. You said, who cares? Here I have said it.
No, I didn't. That wasn't your
Did,
opinion. You asked. You
uh,
said. Oh, wait,
do
actually,
you
you
read
did.
it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Did you read?
Go ahead.
I have written it.
Oh, you have. Okay. Where is it? I don't see a question.
It's not a question. It's a
Oh.
compliment.
Oh no, there. I didn't see anything. There's only it's my dad in my room that was really good, and you when you wrote edge. I don't think it came through. Sometimes they don't come through on the thing. Thank you for the compliments. Did Robin or you or anyone did you have a question real quick? Because there's only one more left. So if you guys grab the question, but we have to stay on topic.
Also, this might be
Okay.
like a weird question, but
Okay.
um, usually I would like write things down on flashcards, but I would put like an emotional intention. So like I don't know, maybe it's in my mind or something, but I usually would put like, let's say if it's advice, I put like an emotion to it, like kind of like a boost.
Yeah.
So when I come back to it, I remember the exact feeling when reading it. It's like tapping into the emotion of what you wrote, like let's say years ago. And I
Yeah.
wonder if when people pass away, they have like things like a ring, and they're like, "Oh, I feel your grandmother in that ring."
Yeah.
Is that how energy works?
Oh, that's reading energy. So, but I was gonna say before what you were talking about, I'm like, that's not a question. That's you showing how aware you are and how cool that is that you actually pay attention to yourself. That's what I was gonna compliment you. Compliments all around. But I'm gonna talk to you about reading energy. So when people talk about
Mm-hmm.
Akashic records, or when they feel things, or when they give people a reading, we're always doing this. Anything people talk about in spirituality, we're always doing it. It's just we don't know. And the difference between a person who says they do that for a living and a person who does it is that that person has gone through a finite structure and they are going to prove to you how they do it, and they have a bit more context to tell you, and they also gatekeep, but everyone does it. So when you like I always give the example, so like here's this earring. So this earring, this crystal, and me, and an animal outside, we all hold energy differently. And there's
Oh,
and so a crystal holds it like a flash drive, and also whatever people put into it. So if someone puts online that random stuff, even though it's not the crystal, it will be in here, and you can like change it as well. So that is what holds here, and also it holds things like an object as well, how it got there. So how it was formed, where which energies are involved in its creation, all that stuff, right? That's what will be in here, the information when you read this. When you read an object, you're going to see how it got to you. So it can be the people who had it before, if it's vintage, it could be the process that they put it through. This is a pearl. So the person who harvested the pearl, the person who made it shiny, the person who designed how they're gonna like decide what they're gonna do. You can read all of that in there. Now a person, that would be when people think it's Akashic, but it's actually reading my energy. So if you were reading my energy, you would find out all the things that I talk about. The deeper you know yourself, the deeper you can read my energy. Same with the other stuff. So it all has to do with how much you know yourself and how much you're exploring in yourself. So I did this diagram once on a live, and I had these two circles, and there's a person here that only knows a bit, like they know only things about life, like a tiny bit of stuff, right? Not like about their origins or anything. They know like small stuff. And then this other one here, they know like they have gone so deep, like they know at least 20 different memories that they've learned, right? And they've worked on their shadows, they've met their shadows, they're deep. So this person is going to read lots of this person's energy. This person is going to only say, you look like let's see, Britney Spears. That's what they'll say. That's how they read energy. And so it's really cute. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, you look like the celebrity," but what they're really doing is they're reading that person's energy. So they have similar energies. They're noticing that, but they think it's the face and stuff like that. It could also be our ancestors, and ancestors are actually not. And it depends on what you're doing. If you're working on like a family problem, like a family thing, your ancestors are going to be the ones people talk about. But the true ancestors that you actually can learn from and that your energy is healing and stuff are representatives of the lines of humanity in different dimensions, like everywhere, right? And they are the ones that are the keepers of what your energy is doing here. So when your energy, when that part of the humanity is having issues, your energy comes through, and it's the ones you've decided to be a part of, whatever. And so sometimes it's the way you look, and so sometimes it's that. So someone will see them and they'll be like doppelgangers. So it could be an energy thing, and it could like an energy as in bigger energy, or it could be like an ancestor thing of what both those people are working on very similar things. Their energy is working on similar things for others. So now animals and plants, again, reading the energy of animals and plants is going to be different as well. Animals is it's like a bit empty in the sense that they come and go kind of in a way where they're not really they don't stay like how we hold it. They move around and stuff. It's complicated because they're a bigger energy, and they're little pieces, like almost like, like you put on a costume and go into the matrix to do stuff. So they're like little workers kind of. So they know it depending on the type, and like I have a series about this as well in Patreon. So yeah, so that's one. And then the plants are like a little like net, and plants are closer to us. They the way that their energy, the way we hold energy. Um, they basically, the difference between us is when we receive stuff constantly. When we receive it, we either alchemize it inside us and like becomes part of us as a human, and or we express it. And so we alchemize and express it. So sometimes we just alchemize it and keep it within, and sometimes we express it. And the plants are constantly they moving it to the next one and moving it to the next one, and like all the time, like they never hold on to it. So yeah, that's kind of, there's more, but that's what you're doing.
I didn't know they like passed it around the plants.
Yeah, and there's more to it, but I'm just doing the basics so that you can get an idea so you can explore it. There's a lot more. And like I said, I have content about that, like tons of stuff about this stuff, because, it's the fun stuff. But yeah, that's what, when people are like, I'm gonna read your energy, I'm like, okay, cool, like everybody else does. Right? It's context again. So what's the context of that reading energy? Is that person doing it from a hierarchy system where they're like, I am a reader, or are they doing it because they don't know very much about themselves, and they see that that person looks like this person, and that's how they read it? There's so many contexts of why, their intention, all that stuff. And the same thing goes to when you look at like for example the Bible. If you look at the Bible, all of those have been from like humans reading energy mixed with channeling and all these things that we all do, but instead they're focusing it, and they have specific, all of the different people who wrote it and the energies involved in it, they all had different things going on. Like this one was like, help, my crops are failing, and then they're like, and then this energy goes, oh, you blah blah blah, and then they write it down, and everybody's like, oh, that's what you have to do. Without any context of what that person asked. Like, what did they ask? Like, who knows, right? We didn't even get to know the conversation. But you can, now that you know that this exists, you can go look, and you can ask. You can go and look at those things. And if you guys need help, I do sessions to do that. And also the tools, I can help you with the tools as well.
Do you believe in
no beliefs? No beliefs. I don't believe. I experience. Belief is finite.
If you experience.
Belief is finite. So finite thinking. So remember when I said belief is a finite thinking, it means that that something's happening, and you've decided that whoever said that is that.
Say, does evil eye exist?
It's not about if it exists or not. Evil eye, the question that you should ask, this is the last question, by the way. The question that you should ask to get an answer that's actually going to help you explore more is you should ask, why did humans come up with evil eye? What did they mean by this? And so when you ask that question, then you find out, okay, so what was the human's perspective? They had to think something. They're not BSing. Like there's something that they were thinking. So usually what we were talking about with like energies, like when people are channeling or asking questions, we're doing this all the time. So if a culture is constantly like, I'm gonna use well, I'm not gonna say actually the culture because something bad happened to them today, or yesterday
Around.
actually. But anyway, basically, let's say you have a very a culture where you're talking to each other and like gossiping a lot. Like let's say gossiping is normal in your culture. From that person's perspective, they're gonna be like, you know what? I'm gossiping a lot. What if other people are gossiping too? And then you're like, oh no. And then your life is getting weird, and you look at the two things and you're like, oh my God, what if this feels bad when we do this? It feels gross. What if when they do this, when other people are doing this, I'm doing it, so they must be doing it. So, like, that's probably why my life is a mess. So, these are people who have unempowered themselves. They are constantly thinking that someone can do something to them that has nothing to do with anything. Like they're just someone looking at you, like about and wanting what you have or whatever. That should be none of our business. That's very shallow thinking anyway. Who cares what they think? If someone is like annoyed that you are doing well, that sounds like you don't have boundaries and you don't know if you should that you should not be around these people. They're not good matches for you. So why, like, they're not a energy match. Like you have different looks, like if someone's doing that, they don't like you, so like why would you be around someone who's doing that, right? And then for example, i have been I have been on TikTok for a while, so people see me, and I'm sure that there's people that know me from my past that have seen me. They might have evil eye things. Nothing has happened to me. I have gone to the biggest energies. I've talked to demons, and the demons are not what people think. I've talked to all kinds of different energies, and I'm fine. I'm 40, I'm going to be 40, and I'm fine. So it just shows that these things are, it doesn't mean that those people who are scared and having those experiences and sad, it doesn't mean that those are invalid. It means that it's something different than what people think. So any kind of fear thing, when you're worried about stuff, it's because you're the perspective of someone is thinking, oh, okay, this evil eye thing, it must be because my life is messed up, and like every time I gossip, like it feels really gross. So can you imagine what happens when they see my stuff and they gossip about me? Like that's how it works. So it's people not minding their own business, and not in a way where they're minding their own business. They're not working on themselves. They're so obsessed with others. Do you see what I mean? Hi, Michael. I'm about to go, but I have all of my stuff in my link in bio. When I'm on the live, when I do Toolkit readings on the live, it is from Patreon members. So you can sign up on Patreon, any of the tiers. Yeah, that's how it works. But I'm going to go in a few minutes. So, did you guys have any questions from that question, or was that
That
helpful?
was really good.
It was
That
good?
was really good. I understood it.
Okay, that's good.
You brought a lot of perspective, like literally. You helped a lot.
Yeah, that's what you got. That's what I want for you guys. That's my intention. And intentions are everything. So a lot of people like there's someone who asked this, and I did a video response. It's recent. And they said, "How do you know that the things you're saying are true?" And I said, "It doesn't really matter because it's not about me. It's about the intention. So my intention is to empower people so they can be sovereign and they can make their decisions and know their possibilities of what they can do. And so if that's my intention, and everything that comes out of my mouth is for that intention, how why it doesn't need to be, it's not about being right or wrong, right? It's not a fact thing, it's about empowerment. So it doesn't matter what I'm talking about, that is my intention. So other people, they do videos about like their experiences, they're like, oh my God, and they just do it because they're excited and they want to share it to people and stuff like that. I'm beyond that. Like I've worked on expanding myself, and I know what I want. I know what I want from my energy. I know what I want to, what I want, how I want to be the change. I want to act and be the change I want to see. And so this is what I want. I want everyone to have the option to decide and to know that they have the right to be sovereign and what that means. And if I've done that, that is my job is done. Right? So yeah, so that's basically why I'm here doing this. And this is what I do every second of the day, like all the time. Like even when I'm working on myself and I'm going deeper and diving in my story, I'm still thinking that I want to be that change. So, you know.
Wait, how many years have you been went on live for?
I think it's been about I think it's about 3 or 3.5 years. About a year and a half ago, I was going every day. It was wild, but I'm not doing. I'm yeah. It was. I think I needed to do that then. Like I don't do that to myself. You know how people go, oh my god. I think I needed that in my life then, but it also I went in a I had a transition on I think it was like October to January. I was talking to my energies and I went from being a mother energy to a queen energy. And so what that means is being a mother, because my energy is like naturally that way, and it's not in a human way, it's in a um big way where I'm like giving everything at like my bigger energy is doing that. And so as a human, I was copying that and it felt fun, but I'm a human, so I was being drained. And so it brought people who are like, here's all my problems here. And so those aren't people who are ready to remember. So there's no point for me as a human, like it's not going to help them. Like I'm going to love doing it, but it's not going to help people, right? And so they helped me transition to the queen energy, which is having a little kingdom of energy of what your intentions are, what are you specialized in, what are your interests, all that stuff of me, like what I do. And then when people come, they come knowing that they want something. Like they know they want like something about themselves. They know that they're noticing things, or like you, for example, when you got in the live, you were just asking about that. You're like, I know that there's something, like you were like feeling that, right? And then you just went, oh, like you know what I mean? And that's kind of what it is. It's a different thing. It's bringing your keys to the table, being like, I have these keys and I heard that you know where the locks are, and I'm like, the locks are all over you, just like use your keys now. Like that's what I transitioned to. And it was sad because I was just still like, I'm a mom. Like but yeah, but no.
Okay. Are you a mother?
I'm not. I'm a mother energetically.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, so I'm going to head off. Thank you everyone for your questions. I'm going to try to come on this weekend, but last weekend I wasn't able to because if I have sessions, then it's a bit, it's the boundaries, right? Even though I love the lives, but I'll see how it is. Other than that, we'll maybe see you on Monday or something like that. But yeah, nice to meet everyone. Have a look at my link in bio for all the fun details. Have a look at my little toolkit workbooks if you're interested. And see you soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
What's your name, by the way?
My name's Nicole.
Nicole. Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.